I used to dread baking days, honestly, because it was a time when all of my hard work would really be tested in the oven. I would get nervous to open the Dutch oven to see that my dough didn't rise or my scoring was not perfect. But I have become a huge fan of baking days. I think it's really that moment when all of your hard work gets to shine. Whether it's perfect or imperfect doesn't really matter. You know it's going to taste good, you know your customer's going to love it, and that is the whole point of making the bread. On the farm, baking day is especially difficult, not only because I am juggling baking bread, but I'm also making sure I get out to the animals to milk as early as possible. It is very important that if you have a dairy animal that you're trying to keep them on a schedule. When it comes to dairy animals, I feel like there are ebbs and flows. When we first started milking, it was very difficult. They didn't want to be there. I was still trying to relearn, I should say, on how to milk. They were definitely not into it. And then we kind of got into a rhythm and everything was going good. In the last 2 weeks, it has been very difficult. I am struggling to get the motivation to go out and milk. They seem to be less interested in being milked and more interested in getting out to pasture. So it's become more of a chore lately. The number one question I get asked is, how do you do it? And the truth is, I love it. I know there are days when I don't want to get out here and milk. There are days when I don't want to go to the barn. There are days when I don't want to make bread. But when I lay my head down at night, the things that I'm dreaming about and thinking about are how to expand the microbakery, how to expand our farm, how to provide more food for our community, and how to teach people how to live this life. And that's something that I know tells me that this is my passion and this is what I want to do. If you're laying in bed dreaming about something, it's on your mind all the time, go for it. I am 100% here to encourage you to do the things that make you happy. It may not be homesteading, it may not be farming, heck, it might not even be a microbakery. Whatever is that thing that's on your heart and on your mind, just go for it, regardless of what anybody else thinks. I know I used to struggle really hard with this. I would really be concerned about what my parents are going to think or my friends. And I can tell you that they may not be in your corner. And it might take them a really long time to understand. But if it's on your heart, you have one life. So just do it. I once talked to a friend about how insecure I was when it came to pursuing any of my passions as a business. And I think that's where we really struggle. Because you want to do something, because you have passion about something, do you have to make money in doing it? And the answer is no. You don't have to turn everything into a business. You don't have to make profit. But I'm telling you, if you do something passionately and you are doing it for the right reasons, the money will come. When you start a microbakery, it's really important to know the ins and outs of what you're doing, because that way you can speak about it with confidence. You can talk to people and educate them on what you're doing and why you're doing it. If you're talking about sourdough, you're talking about all the health benefits. You're talking about how it creates community and how anybody can do it. And that's going to shine through as your passion. That's what's going to sell your products. That's what's going to get people interested in your story.
I know I'm showing you all of the romantic things about baking day, but this is real life. The kitchen is always a complete disaster, flour all over the floor. We have kids, so kids stuff is here. I started doing everything over here, so I am cooling. I'll put my bigger cooling rack up in just a second, but it's flour and it's grease from the pepperoni, and that's for real. This is 2 loaves that still need to be picked up from yesterday, so I just brought them back inside. So I always wash out one of my bins and then I leave it here so that I can put all of the towels in here, and then I can just do a load of the towels and all that stuff at the end of baking day.
When I started sourdough over 3 years ago, it was not an easy process for me. It took me a really long time to understand my starter. It took me a really long time to actually get a decent loaf of bread. And so I use that to my advantage now. In my workshop, I talk about how to overcome all of those struggles and how to just keep pushing through, because it's something that I had to do. And that's where you want to come from. Where did you start learning about sourdough? Why did you pick it up? And how have you learned throughout the process? I believe that people want to hear from someone who has overcome some sort of obstacle. So whether that be you started sourdough because you couldn't eat gluten and now you can, always tell your story as to why you got into making sourdough, why you started farming, why you started homesteading, whatever that is. And that's going to connect with people, because maybe you have someone in your life that can't have gluten and now you're eating sourdough bread and you're able to tolerate it. You could really be helping people in your community who are looking for some sort of alternative that will agree with their gut health. I know when I talk to people about sourdough, there's a few things that I always hit on, and it seems to always impress people about how few ingredients are in it and why it's a better alternative than your store-bought bread.
I'm finally starting to clean up from today's baking. These are all still cooling. I actually have like about an hour before I have to run and deliver all of these, all of the eggs, and then it's Colton's graduation day for preschool, so we're gonna go do that. But I wanted to show you guys that I am currently rendering lard from all the pork. I've been saving it for the last year. I missed a couple times for sure, so this isn't like everything we had, but it's quite a bit, so I'm just going to render this down. It's on high right now, and it's supposed to go for a few more hours on high, and then I will strain it off, and hopefully we will have some good lard. And we got this at a secondhand store, which is why it still has part of the sticker on it, but that's what we're doing. I'm going to go ahead and get myself ready for graduation.
And at the end of the day, people who find your product valuable in any way, whether they just want a beautiful loaf of bread to serve at a dinner, or if they are looking for something for a health benefit, they're going to support you. And that's your customer. That's who you're looking for.
Well, per usual, the day kind of got away from me. I was rushing to get everything packaged in the car. We did our delivery, we did our egg delivery, and everything is now done. We're settling in, changed into some comfy clothes because we are just hanging out for the rest of the day. I am going to be making a sourdough pizza, so I'll put that recipe in the description. I got it from Lisa at Farmhouse on Boone, and we use it all the time. It's great. But thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. on my baking day. Next time I will try and be a little bit more intentional on making sure that I'm getting all the little parts and pieces, just because with 2 kids, you can imagine it gets a bit crazy. But thank you so much for hanging out with me, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye, friends.